Good morning. It is early in the morning and I am still at it. Still at this wedding stuff. I did a vest. Right here. Did a vest. And in doing this stuff for my upcoming wedding, that's not my wedding, it's my son's. I forgot about him being the picky one. And he doesn't like the no shirt look vest. So I'm redoing it with a whole different pattern. Now the thing about patterns is when you switch from one pattern, I was using one pattern and I started using this one. You have to forget about the one you just did. You're doing something new. And I sort of did and sort of didn't. I had to read this twice. This is a vest for a groom. And for the groom, it's got to be just what he wants. Now, the thing is, since I'm redoing this thing, he's getting rose fabric in the lining. But it's gorgeous. Beautiful hunter green roses. Hey, there's more when we get back. It's one day. He's only going to be the one to see the roses when he puts it on and takes it off, right? I think his future wife is going to love it. She liked this one. And she asked me, she says, why are you remaking it? I said, because he wants me to. He doesn't like it. The reason why I ended up like this was, I think, if you've seen my other video about it, I had a mishap with a seam ripper that decided to run away with the hand, so to speak. Well, anyway, in this, with the vest, just like anything else, you cut all your pieces up, like I did, and you go through the instructions on it. It tells you, now normally, this is where it seemed odd. Now, I've done a vest that had the little tie thing in the back, on the belt, the back belt, to just kind of make it, hug the shape of the guy wearing it. But I've never done it this way. That's why I didn't dawn on me. I like to do my shortcuts when I have a lot of darts in the project. Normally, it's not a bad thing to do the darts at a time. I did all the darts, just like I do normally. Mistake. Because then I went through the instructions. In the instructions, you do the vest front. And this is the vest front. You do the dart in the vest front first. And then you do what's called a welt. Now, a welt on a vest is that, I'll show you on this one. It's the piece that outlines the pocket. It can either be recessed so you can make a pocket, or it can be just sewn on there so it looks like a fake pocket. Basically, it's a fake pocket. It's just a design. Neither one of these vest patterns were supposed to have pockets. Of course, the groom wants pockets. So guess what? The groom gets pockets. But this one, the welt is shaped a little different. So you have to finagle a little bit, positioning them and that what. So normally, that would be one of the middle items you do. Instead, they're having, in this pattern, you do that welt right away in the beginning, which I thought was odd, but actually it's a good thing. In this one, it's towards the end, all right? You put the pocket in at the end, because it does say you can if you want to. But then your pocket's is exposed on the backside. It's not inside the lining. Doing a vest this way, if it calls for a pocket, and you're using a welt, you want to do it so that, just like another pattern. So it's kind of like I had to take instructions from one and apply it to another. You just have to cut the welt a little bit wider, which I realized after the fact. Put the welt in. So your instructions tell you, put the welt on the front, right? I did. So I'm going to show you how to do the second one. because it comes out where your pocket's on the inside. Now, if this machine acts up, we're just going to wing it, because I think my machines are on strike. They don't want to do any more whiting stuff. They're tired. This is the lining, so we weren't going to mess with that. So you always start, usually, with the outside. And you're going to take your front, and when you cut, before you cut your pattern out, there's where you mark where the welt goes. In placement, I hope I still have my pocket laying around here somewhere. I had it, oh my goodness, because I've moved things around a little bit. This is not fun. I probably ended up on the floor. This is terrible. I was waiting for the computer to go live, and then I had to reboot it because it didn't want to go live. And now I can't find the pocket. Well, wouldn't you know? Let me make sure I didn't throw it in the bin. I did press some of it. And did it end up in the bin? Or else I'd cut out another pocket. Well, I don't get it. All the best laid plans. And this is like a pennant. I know. I think I know where they're. I put them in here. Silly me. I put them away. Okay, so you'll notice with the pockets, one of them is a little bit bigger than the other. And I thought that was kind of odd too. I thought they're supposed to be the same size. Like when you do a pair of pants pockets, they're the same size. Not these. So the short one goes in the front, and the bigger one goes in the back. And the way you lay these out, that back over there, on your front is, you put it, it kind of goes downhill towards the front, towards the middle. And you take the welt, you fold it in half, and you stitch the side seams. And you're going to put this on here the same way, where, you know, where it slopes, that goes towards the front. And there's a line that you line it up on here. And it goes, right, you can't see it. Here it is. Now, just to make sure I've got this lined up correctly, as far as the angle and the height from the bottom, I'm going to take the other side, which I've already done, and make sure they are basically in the same position. That one I got to turn upside down to do that. Make sure they line up at the same height before I pin it, before I sew it. And it is. Okay. This one goes here. Checking my seam. The seam is there. So let me raise it up just a little bit. I did the tracing paper with a tracing wheel. And sometimes it will stay for the length of the time I need it to stay. And other times it disappears. And I do not know why. And just like that. Okay. I could always take the pattern piece back out, stick it on here, and redo it, make it fresh. But just not necessary. So I have that to where it is. That point is angled down. So I literally took this and put it right there. There's a marking on, here we go again, on the pattern that shows where the placement is for this. And normally, with no pocket, where the placement of this welt is, you would actually go ahead and just stitch it on there. I'm going to pin it and show you exactly what you do. And then, like this. The worst nightmare I have is pockets being uneven. Can you imagine? Oh, that would really throw my son off the cliff. So I'm going to pin this welt. For those of you who don't want to mess with pockets, the welt is just to make it look nice and crisp. and kind of formal. And that's good. And I'm going to double check because I don't trust my own eyesight these days. This is the lining. This should be the front. Yeah, no, that's the back. Long. It goes on with it anyway. I had it out there. There it is. Oops, that's it. Come on. It's probably on, oh, it's on the table over there. Just to make sure where it's supposed to be. Yeah, I think that's proper placement. So when you've been up hours on end, sometimes you just don't always. This is the easiest way I know, instead of trying to play. Excuse me. And I have to pinch it like the dart is already in it. And make sure that it is where that line is. Okay. Yep, it's good. And then you can compare this way. I turned around. Oh, right side. So the belt is positioned here. And it's sewn here. It's sewn across. It's like 3/8. And then what you would do with a non-pocket is you would flip it up. And so this is what it says in the instructions. You flip it up. When you flip it up, of course these pins are in the way now. You're going to flip it up like this, and you just stitch it. You just literally stitch across it. You have a nice little placket on there. Now for the pocket, because I'm making it into a pocket per request, the welt goes down. Then the shorter of the two. Okay, come here. There is a smaller of the two pockets. Excuse me. And that over goes on top of the bottom. And it has a thin end to wide end, with the wide end going towards the rear. That's because when you put, no, that's not right. It goes the other way. Yeah, because when you put your hands in a pocket, if you think about it, the deep part is towards the front. That's how I try to remember it. And then you just literally line it up with the edge of the welt. I'm trying to be as organized as I can be, considering I have been up all night doing this, doing the bridesmaids makeup bags, and they're so cute. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. You put the smaller of the two pocket pieces on top of that welt. Then this one, the larger one, is positioned the same way, but above, just touching that edge. So it's going to go right here. Yeah. And I'm praying that the machine does not give me a hard time. But if it does, I've got one over to the side there, and I'll just have to run back and show you. It seems like everything falls apart in the middle of the night. So now I've got the back side of the pocket, what they call the pocket lining, on the top. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch across here and across here about 1/4 inch in. From where they meet, 1/4 inch. Then I'm going to cut that open, but a certain way. So let's see if this little girl over here is actually going to cooperate. I found out there's a certain thread that she doesn't like. No, this Netchie doesn't like a heavier weight Gunderman thread. Didn't like it. And she kept cutting that up, spitting that out. So I've had to rethread her several times until I figured out, oh, it's a thread. And I had stopped using this machine because the feed dogs would not go up. They were in permanent down position. And I watched some videos, and he really didn't help. I turned her upside down and started looking at all the gizmos underneath, and I figured it out, how to adjust it. And now they work. My fabric was not feeding through at all on this machine. I put her aside, didn't know why, a while back, and then I remembered when I tried to sew with it. But she feeds through just fine now. The question is, can I feed a needle through? This one does not have an automatic threader on it. I wish it did. Some of my vintage ones actually do. This particular one does not. An older model, I think it's like a 60 something. Trying to it's a little thing that there. All right. We're gonna have to get up close and personal here, aren't we? Oh, I thought I had it in there. Didn't look like it. My eyes probably another little exam. These glasses are, I don't know how old these glasses are now. But as you get older, you can start to really pitter out. And this is not my favorite situation. Now it's curved. That's part of the problem. So if you see people where they tell you how many times they had to snip that darn thread, yeah, that would be me too. But if you snip it at an angle instead of straight on, somehow it does help. So let's see if it up this time. Oh, I was just off the mark there. Second. What I do is I put my finger behind the needle, so I have instead of silver on silver, you can't see dark thread trying to get it through silver. But if you put your finger back there to help you find where the hole in the needle is, usually you get pretty good luck getting it through. Hopefully. Another lady said, try wetting behind the needle. I said, what the world are you talking about? He says, no, just do it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the thread. All threads are not created equal. And you didn't feel like, I'm sure you didn't expect to be like, I gotta watch this lady, know what she's doing, is trying to thread a dang needle. It's like blind as a bat. Yeah, that's true. But, right there, honey bunch. Get your little self in there. It's got arthritis in this one hand, and it is really messing me up these days. It looks like it's in there. It's actually not. It had to be my index finger, too. I didn't even know it was there until they did x-rays or MRI or something and found it. It was an x-ray, I think. And far side, it's just like, am I back far enough? I've tried needle threaders. They just do not work. The wire in them is either too too flimsy or it's too hard. There's no happy medium. Come on, Netchie, help me out here. I really don't like taking this long to put a bloody thread in there. Then watch this machine not work. Let me know. It probably would not. This is the challenges of vintage, folks, is being able to get that thread in there when you've had to either change the thread or it breaks or something else. Please tell me you're in there, honey. Oh, no, it's not. I can tell. I can just tell. I have these little needle threader things, but they don't work. They just, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I know what I've done before. Believe it or not. I'm probably going to do it now. If it doesn't make it this time, I'm going to do it. Is it through? No. Okay, I'm taking the needle out. This is how I do. When I can't get it like that, and I'm trying to get this, I take this needle out. The trick is to keep it facing the same way when you're going to put it in there. Because it's like the angle and everything is bad. And I put it up here in the shadow. I take that little thread, stick that booger right through there, and it goes through first time every time when I take the needle out. So there's a clue. That's a little tip, little trick. But you got to remember, don't twist it. Keep it the same way as you took it out. And you just stick her back in there. I was afraid I was going to have to do that, but I guess it's a good trick. And that's for us gals that are getting old and eyes are getting all funky. Yeah, like that. Now I got to remember to not pull it out because I did that earlier. I was so mad at myself. Find the end and put it back to the back. So I'm holding it in front of the needle so I don't lose it outside of the needle. And there we go. Yay. Okay, so now I'm going to sew on top of the welt with the pocket front. And make sure I've got my stitches in here correctly because I changed the stitches earlier. And this should work. You gonna do that? You need to stop doing that. Lock in the stitches. Okay, there's that one. And did it actually stitch it? Or no? I can't tell. I might be having bobbin trouble. Yes, I'm having bobbin trouble. So, actually it's the thread at the top. I don't have the spool because the thread I used before was Gunderman. It was not being nice. I took it out and put this on because I didn't have another. I don't have another. I've gone through so much rigging thread. So I'm going to real quick and do this on this other machine. Then I'll show you how to open this pocket up. This machine works fine. Now, I do apologize for the issues, but that's why you have backup sewing machines. Just for that reason. Hey, let's go, Miss Kenmore. I'm a girl. All right, that's one. Pick it up. Let's get to the other side. I'm just watching the ghost sewer, huh? That's what it seems like I'm sure. you're acting up too? Hopefully not. Hope not. That one went fine. What happened to this one? Oh, I bet you I might have bobbed through. Ha ha. Might be. I didn't check it. I should have checked it. Of course I might have bobbed through. Okay. So we're going to skip that. Since, like I said, I have got so much to do. But once I can actually, I can walk you through it. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to sew anything else, but this is going to be short. I'll do a redo of this, obviously. So once you've stitched that on this side, because I can show you on the other one, you slice this. Now the way you can do this is you can do it with a seam ripper, or you can use an X-Acto knife. I got an X-Acto knife because the seam ripper is the one that caused the problem with the other vest. It went right through the buttonhole. And then you flip that pocket, take this and tuck it inside both of them. When you pull both of them through, like this, that's when you stitch around it and you stitch right up to here. But before you do that, when you go to, when you slice this, you slice it to about a 1/2 inch from the end, and then you do like a V. So you're going to go like this. You're going to go this way, and like that, on both ends. Because when you go to turn this inside out, or right from the outside to the inside, it creates this corner. Now I did have to do some little hand tack down stitches here because this one wanted to keep flipping out. And I said no. I said no. Now my son likes to look at things with a microscope. So as a little adornment, cover up, I covered these buttons, these little teeny buttons. And I'm going to go in there like a decoration at the corner. That's it. He won't know the difference. It won't be ribbons, and I don't think he'll care because that's where the pocket is. So then after you've done your 2 pockets, you attach them at the shoulder to the back. Now, when I was talking about those funny instructions, this is the funny part. Remember I told you I did all the darts at one time? Nope, not supposed to do that. You make your belt. You make the belt, and then you do the darts, because the belt is, one end is going to be inside the dart. Who knew? So the belt is basically, there's 2 pieces of it that you cut out. These 2. There's 2 like this. This is with the interfacing, fusible interfacing on it. And you stitch it right sides together, 2 sides, and then you turn it right side out. Well, you stitch up until this notch to allow you to turn it right side out easily. And this is how I do. Everybody hates turning these things. So I have some upholstery needles, have a nice big eye in them, and I put the thread through, the eye, and then I attach it to this little corner right here. Excuse me. Then I carefully insert it so that it's free inside, okay, with that thread attached, and I pull that needle through. So you'll see how big this thing is. When it's pulling the thread, button thread is best to do this. You're going to take the thread off anyway. And then slowly pull it through, little by little. Because I didn't use button thread for this, though. This isn't as strong as button thread would be as far as breakage. And you kind of help it along by shoving it in there a little bit. Now, there's also this little tool that they make, and I've tried it, but I can't figure out how you do it with this. Because I have a little hook thing on the end. I'm like, how do I do that? Or you can use a elastic puller. Very carefully stick it in there and grab the inside of the pocket, the tube, and then pull that through. But this one seems to work the best. Takes a little bit of finessing, but it works. It does work, just like this. Takes a little bit more time, but I don't want it. I don't want these threads to break because then I have to start over. It's bad enough I got a machine that decided, I don't like your thread. And you just kind of get on down. If you bunch it up too much, you won't be able to pull it through. You want to kind of wiggle it, make it think it's supposed to do that. Once you get it going to where it's actually enough of it's turned right side out, it'll actually slide right through. Really quick. Don't make a liar out of me now. Come on, get there. Sometimes I'll stick my finger in there to help it out. And come on. They showed us this, believe it or not, this was in like my sophomore year of high school. They showed us how to do this with this piece of thread and a needle. We used it, or we actually used a safety pin. And somehow we did it on a safety pin. A safety pin works really well. There we go. And that's how you pull elastic through, is with a safety pin. If you don't have an elastic puller, I have an elastic puller somewhere. I was using it at first. Then I went to old school again. It's funny how you go back to old school. You try all the new stuff, and it's like, I can't stand that stuff. So you go back to old school. Now I see the other end, and now I'm good. I just hold on to that and put that puller right out. Yep. And after it's pulled right side out, get it light, pull your corner out, and that sort of thing. Now you do this for both sides of the belt. And on this side, though, you're going to leave the finished edge alone, the one with that we hooked onto. You're not going to do anything to that one. The other one for the left side of the back of the vest that you attach I use a swimsuit ring. It's one of these little guys. And you see them on book bags and stuff, right? Well, this is in silver. I was making swimsuits, and I needed the swimsuit hardware, and this was one of them. There was also a black, and since the back is black, I'm using the black. And I'm using the black on the one that I'm making for my husband. His is solid green. And what you do with the short one goes on the left, because the long one is to measure or to cinch it up as much as you want or as little as you want. You put that, excuse me, through one end of it, actually through the middle part. So that way you can do the fishing it through, putting this through there. And you pull it through and you sew it a half inch down. And then the raw edge goes in the dart, which I didn't know. It went in there. Now you want to press this, and once you get it in there, then the part that was left open so you could turn it, you just stitch that shut. So I'm going to see if this has got any more to come out or not. Maybe not. I think that's pretty much as far as it's going to go. And the string that's on here, you're just going to snip it off. You don't need it anymore. Just like that. Let's see if my iron's still hot. It will beep at me when it says, hey, I'm sitting here. But it's been off for a minute. I know. It's a shut off all over. Give me some minutes so I can put this belt on, or at least get it in there. I don't know about putting it on there. Nobody wants to sew right now. But So be on the lookout for Groom'S Vest 2. Machines all are no longer on strike. It's the only thing I can think of, they're on strike. So what I did, because I boo-booed on it, I had already done the dart. Well, I went back to the pattern and I marked where the belt's supposed to go. And I just took those stitches out. So now I can put the belt in there. And so it goes right in that little spot, like this. I just kind of feel it with my fingers. This. And make sure it's level, even in there. So it goes all the way to that. And actually, this wasn't a bad idea to do it this way. It was an extra step, yeah, but this way, I know my dart width is correct also. Because it can only go as far as the dart lets it. So then I'm going to stitch that. When one of you decides to work better, and then the back will look, you'll have the belt, just like that with the two pieces. And then when he goes to wear it, all he does is he puts the one side through there, the other side through there, and yeah, let me get my eyes to work. Gotta get you. Anyway, like I said, arthritis in the hand is not helping. I can always take like a bobby pin or something, stuff it through there. But essentially, you can just see him now trying to fuss with this thing. Mom, I can't get the belt up. Well, get your wife to do it. Oh, wait, you can't see her yet. This is going to be the funniest thing I've ever seen. But that's the gist of it. The belt will be like this. You know, it's going to go right through there. Then after you do that, then you sew the back to the front, which is what I did on this side. Okay, the one that I finished the pocket earlier. I was going to do both of them, but I said, no, I need to show them. And then, of course, this happens. So that's the front. So then I went to the back to the pattern directions, and I said, okay, has this back got any funny stuff going on? It did in one sense, but not really. The back has a lining piece, and then it has a facing. Now, the facing is the one that goes right next to the front. And the lining is supposed to be the same as the lining of the other parts, but it's not. That's where I put my roses in there. So there's no special instructions, but be careful of where you put or where you match it up. When I first looked at it, normally you want to put your curves with your curves, right? On a vest. No. This one, I almost put it together wrong. This facing has a straight side that kind of looks like it might curve, but doesn't. So the trick with that is this. It's what the pattern does, it forces it to curve. It's pretty ingenious. Match the notches. If you have pattern and it has those little notches on it, little triangle things, please make sure you mark them when you're cutting it out. You cut them out, you know, protruding out or going inside. They make the shape of this vest work. The side that looks almost totally straight goes to the curved edge of the facing. And I thought that was really weird. But how you get it to lie down, and any curve to lie down, is after you've stitched it, and this is where I stitched it, okay? After you stitch a curve, you snip every inch or so a V, but not all the way to the stitches. And you'll see I've done that all the way from the bottom up until the pattern tells you, it says up until to the notch. So that's how far the curved part goes. After you've snipped that, you press it. You can press it using a tailor's ham if you like, or you can just be careful and press it. I actually have in my possession a tailor's ham that I wish I had like 40 years ago, at least 30 years ago, and I never got one. What about making one? Saw how they were made, and I said, yeah, it's never the same. This is what you press it on top of. It makes the fibers behave and go where they're supposed to. So you would put this on the ham, just like this, and take your iron and follow that curve. Each part of this, follow that curve. And it's basically you're training it to have a memory of how to lay right. Figure. So that's the tailor's ham. It's invaluable if you want to do like formal stuff, because they're always going to have curves in them. After the back is finished and the front is done with the pockets, then you stitch the front to the back. So even though I can't show you right this minute, like I said, I'm going to do a recap and we'll see it being assembled. You do them right sides together, leaving both side seams open. Now there are some vest patterns. I had this other one the other day where it said you leave the shoulders open, and I wondered why. We always left the side seam open. I mean, in school we were taught to leave the side seam open. So I'm trying to be good, follow the directions. I had the worst time turning that thing right side out. I said, never again. Needless to say, it was not any of our normal pattern people like Simplicity or McCall's. It was an off-brand name. I mean, they're popular. I just don't see many people buying the pattern, but their patterns are pretty much for tailors, that kind of thing. Because what I noticed about the designs is they're very tailored in. There are lots of darts and lots of this, special instruction kind of stuff. So I said, I figured I'd try one. Well, now I know how to do that one in my sleeve now. But so you attach your front to your back. Your outside to your lining. So because this is now your lining, right sides. So your right side of your lining is this. Okay. So this right side goes to this right side where the pockets will be touching it. So it's going to be like this. I'll show you with the 1/2 anyway. So it's right sides together plus the other side. So right sides together, and you stitch all the way around. What I usually do is I start from this side at the bottom and come around this way, go up around the neck. And if you look on the pattern, it actually shows you that's how they did it, how they want it done. Let's see. I can show you right here. Right here, it shows how to stitch it and leaving under the armpit hole, the arms, the sides, to leave them both open. And then when you turn it right side out, you pull everything through one hole on one side. That way it doesn't get knotted up and tangled up inside. I know it sounds weird. It sounds like it wouldn't work, but it works. This kind of turning it right side out works. And then after that, you're stitching it, you're putting buttonholes in it, you're putting buttons on it. I put the disclaimer in here about how warning the machines might be on strike. Yeah, they're on strike, all right. So I will be doing later today. I'll do a redo and with it as far as the things that I've covered, and it'll actually be seen. I do apologize for the inconvenience and but at least it gives you a prelude. Vests are great. The one that I'm doing for my husband, he's got 2 pockets too, but his isn't as difficult as this one. There's no darts in that one. So it's like 2 pockets, sew it up. That's the facing and all that, but there's no darts in it. That's okay, because he's 6'1" and he doesn't need darts. but I noticed there's a belt on it, so you might use that to snug it up. But that's the Groom's Nest. And like I said, you can leave comments. You can say, "Why weren't you more prepared?" I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What can I do is apologize. This is a joy and a passion. And I always say, if you find your joy, you find your passion, you can have so much fun. And it's like keeping on sewing. So if you'd like to see more of formal wear, anything like that, I will be doing some embellishing of wedding dresses very soon. Probably after this wedding, because the wedding is in 2 weeks. And we're in crunch time, especially when the groom decides he wants a different vest. But the flower girl dresses are done. In case if y'all haven't seen any of the flower girl items, it's the flower dress and the sash. And then I've made bags for the bridesmaids. I've made several of them. There's 5 of them. They're all very different. And this just kind of shows how crazy crafty you can get. Creative. They're all monogrammed. I have an embroidery machine, and it comes in handy. And then this is just kind of plain. There's 3 more that I have over there. And if you want to know, nobody's asked me to make a garter or anything like that. I should make her a green garter. Do you think I should? I don't know if she's wearing one or nothing. I don't know. And I'm sure her husband-to-be doesn't know either. It's one of those surprise things. Either tell them or you don't. But I will get my equipment up and running today because I have to use it. And if I have to switch the camera over to the other machine that has been very good to me, and actually did some of that stitching that you needed to see, we'll just do it over there. That's a 1966 Kenmore in a desk, and she's a beaut. She's got a built-in, well, not built-in, she has a button holder attachment that I will be using for this vest, I have a feeling. Because I tried to use a regular button holder. Nope, didn't work. So, please, share my videos. There's lots more. And throw me a like, hit that like button for me. And will be even better is if you subscribe. Subscribe and give me more work to do because I really like doing it. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you get some sleep. I'm going to try to get some sleep, a couple hours maybe. But I got to get my machines running first before I can ever sleep. And then I will see you all later. God bless.